thought we had a very solid practice this morning. Worked on a lot of good work on third down in 1 minute, and worked in the red zone. Coming off the open week, looking forward to playing Georgia over in Athens, and I'll open up for any questions.
First up, we'll go to Josh Kendall of The Athletic.
Well, what's your impression of the way Jaycee Horn has played this year?
I think Jaycee's continued to play well. Not a lot of action has gone his way, in some situations. But a guy that's covered well in man. Really in the last two ball games, I don't know that many balls have been completed, on his side of the field. So, but I've been pleased with his play.
Do you feel like people are staying away from him because he is playing well, or is that just the way these things have gone?
No, I think that's the way things have gone. It's harder now, Josh, to match up because of tempo and getting guys on different sides that you like to have them. We certainly would like to do that in some situations with Jaycee. But it's more difficult nowadays just because teams can hit you with tempo and you don't want to get caught trying to match to a certain side. So I think that's just the way things have kind of fallen.
What would be the next step for him in your mind?
Well, just to continue to progress, play, better in zone defense, and obviously he'd like to make some plays on the ball. But again, as I've told him multiple times, that comes in time. The play doesn't care who makes it. Just understand, just continuing to do your job at a high level, and those plays will come.
Was it tough to get him out of Georgia, and do you expect that this to be a bigger game for him just because it's back home or closer to home?
No, I think it was more of I don't know how interested Georgia was in Jaycee, and for whatever reason, I think it was more Alabama and Tennessee that we were, if I remember right, in the recruiting process. But I think they're all important to Jaycee. He's a great competitor. He competes, and I don't think regardless of where we play, it's going to be important to him.
Thanks.
Next is John Bianco of the Big Spur.
Hey, Will, what's been the biggest challenge in facing Jake Fromm the last 2 years?
Well, I think that his overall command of what they do, he's an extension of what they want done on the field as coaches. He's going to get them in the right look in the run game. He's going to get them in the right protection. He's going to take the ball to the right place, and he's going to be very accurate with the football when he throws it. But I think those things, and just as far as running their football team, running their offensive football team, he does a fantastic job. And I hate to use the word manage because everybody looks at that as being conservative or whatever it is, but he does a phenomenal job of managing their offensive football team. He does it extremely well.
Thank you.
Next is Peter Ball of The Athletic.
Hi, Coach. I'm not sure how much you've seen about this news, but Missouri's Cale Garrett is probably out for the year with a pectoral injury. Just from watching him play this year and the past few years against South Carolina, how much does he mean to the Missouri team?
Well, I didn't realize that. I hate that for that young man. He's a fantastic football player. He's a 4-year starter. I know how much Barry thinks of him. But what a fantastic player he is, and I cannot. I'm disappointed to hear that. And a guy that's got a huge future in football regardless of his injury. But he means a lot to their team. I think this year he scored like 3 touchdowns. I know he had one against us. It was a heads-up play that he made in that situation. But I think he's had 3 or 4 touchdowns this year, interceptions, just an instinctive, really good, tough, hard-nosed football player. And it's sad to hear that news.
Thank you.
Next is Bob Holt in the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette.
Hey, Will, how you doing?
Good, Bob. How you doing?
I'm good. Hey, I heard somebody else here on the call say that Georgia's the only team in the country that hadn't allowed a rushing touchdown yet on defense. Just wondering what you think of their run defense and how impressive a stat that is, after several games into the season.
Yeah, that is correct. Our offensive staff's told me all week. The big thing is their depth. That's what I see. They're really deep in the front 7. They roll and play a bunch of guys. They're big up front. They're active. They go in and out of 3 and 4 down. Their linebackers are very active, and they're a really good tackling team. They play with great effort to the ball, and both safeties they erase a lot of things for them. I mean, as far as balls that hit on the second level of getting the ball carrier down, you see a lot of communication from those guys. You know, I've been impressed with those two guys. LeCount and Reed are both really good players, but you know, up front they're able to establish a new line of scrimmage a lot in what they do, and I think that the depth and the quality depth they have, you know, speaks volumes to the success they've had.
Thanks.
Next is John Whittle of the Big Spur.
Hey, Will, with regard to Aaron Sterling, what's been his biggest improvement over the course of the year, and are you surprised at all at the success that he's had?
No, John. You know, Aaron's a really good football player. He's a smaller guy, and I don't mean that as from a stature. He plays big. He's strong-handed. He's a heavy-handed guy. He plays bigger than he is. In our Rabbits package, we've rushed him inside, and he's been a good mismatch for us. He's done a really nice job, and you know, Dennis Wanham had a fantastic sack on the third down to start the second half there in the third quarter the other night, and that was a large attributed to Aaron and pushing the pocket in the middle, and the quarterback had nowhere to escape. And so he's willing to do a lot of the unselfish things. Aaron, to me, is an old throwback player. I mean, he's that type of guy. The way he practices, the way he goes about his business. He had the meniscus last year, which set him back a little bit. But he's been a guy that goes out and handles his business every single day, and I really appreciate his work ethic and his mentality and his attitude.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that from the recruiting process that y'all were able to kind of notice his work ethic and that he played bigger. Do I remember that correctly? Did you notice that then?
Yeah, no, at Tucker High School there in Atlanta, you know, was a guy that you saw on tape, and our defensive staff went to the state championship game. They played Valdosta, and Valdosta had a bigger high school offensive line, and that was one of the things they took away from watching him play and compete in that game at the highest level there in the state of Georgia, and how he played in that game. And then nothing's changed our opinion since he's been on campus. You know, he's been as a true freshman, he came in and had a huge sack against Florida here at Williams-Brice on a critical third down situation for us. But he's played well for us.
Thank you.
Going to wrap you up, Coach. Thank you.
All right.